Hello and welcome to AP Human Geography Review. My name is Sam and I will be hosting this review series as we come up to the AP exam. It is by no means a substitute for the classroom or your teacher. It is only a supplement for when you go into the AP exam. So, let's talk about human geography. What exactly is human geography? I get asked this a lot whenever I go to any functions with family functions, or when I go to see friends from other schools. They ask me, what the heck is human geography, when I tell them I'm taking it. Well, the problem with that is it's really hard to define. It's very vague, it's very out there, and it can really be about anything relating to humans and Earth. So if it has humans in it and they're on planet Earth, it probably has some human geography in it. So human geography is broken down into other fields like population and demography and political science, but human geography as a whole is a very, very broad topic. So whenever somebody asks, what the heck is human geography? You can respond with anything with humans and Earth. So that's the basic gist of it. Now, in human geography, we have a lot of different tools. We have GPS, GIS, remote sensing, and then maps, and more maps. It is really all about maps in this course. So first, let's talk about GPS. GPS, we've all used it. It's whenever you get in from one place to another nowadays, you typically using a GPS. Now, all that GPS really does is find your location. Your phone connects with satellites in space, and it uses 3 different satellites to find where you are from any place on Earth. So if you're at Stanton and you want to get to the movies over here, then you ask the satellite, okay, where am I? And then, okay, where are the movies? And then 3 satellites calculate your position, and 3 satellites calculate that position. And then a route is then calculated to get you to the movies in the best and most efficient way possible. The GPS is figuring out where you are on Earth and where your destination is on Earth. That's all the GPS is doing. Now, that is different to GIS, which is the actual map you see right here. GIS, Geographic Information System, is when you have a map and it has images, and it's not necessarily about finding where you are and how to get somewhere else. It's showing you just imagery of the area, a map of the area that you're looking at. So let's go over here to these photos I have here in the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. Right, so 3 different satellites are required to find your position. Now, all 3 of them, one of them finds the X, and the other finds the Y, and the other finds the Z, if you're a mathy person and you understand dimensions like that. And all 3 satellites are required to find a position on Earth. Typically your position and then your destinations. And that's basically what GPS is doing. And now, GIS is the map I was talking about. And how we collect information to make that map is what remote sensing is. And remote sensing is just a fancy way of saying you have satellites in space, and you have planes and drones, and they're all taking pictures, and they're all getting all kinds of data and heat maps and all kinds of things, and it's all getting compiled into a map that you can use and distinguish between 2 different areas and make a map. Basically, you make Google Maps from remote sensing. There were satellites in space that took a picture of the map that I'm showing you right now. That's all remote sensing is. It's not that complicated. Now what I'm showing you right here is a reference map. It is a map of the physical world as it actually is. You can see it. It's obvious that that's what it is. But a thematic map is when you have something like this. And those are the two basic types of maps, thematic and reference. So we all know that none of these states are actually this color. Florida is not actually orange. Maryland is not actually red. But we colorize them as such so we can distinguish between two different statistics between the states. Now this is what a thematic map is. This isn't actually how the world is. It's just drawn this way so we can understand what is going on better in the map. And so here's a good place to talk about like what spatial perspective is. And spatial perspective basically is just, okay, well you're looking at this. This is a map of population density by state. And you can see that everything up here is really dense, and then it gradually gets thinner and thinner and thinner. And all spatial perspective is doing is saying, okay, well why is this so dense and why is this so not dense? You're just looking at why the map is the way it is, what the map is telling you, and what you can infer from that. So spatial perspective can basically be summarized as why is this right here, or why is this right here the way it is. So now let's talk about geographic scale. So the world is big, but you gotta divide it up into smaller and smaller chunks if you want to understand it reasonably. So let's take Ortega for example in Jacksonville. It's a neighborhood. It is its own geographic scale. A neighborhood is one geographic scale. Now we zoom out a bit and it's on the west side of Jacksonville. That's another geographic scale. It's a side of the city. Then we zoom out some more and this is the whole of Jacksonville and we call that the city. It's a different geographic scale. Zoom out some more, we got Florida, another higher level geographic scale. Then we got the nation, then we got the Western Hemisphere, and then the entire world. Nothing above the entire world. This is geography, not astronomy. But that's basically what geographic scale means. Alright, now let's talk about regions. Now regions are defined in human geography a little weirdly. They have some fuzziness to their definitions, so you could interpret some regions in different ways, but here's the general rundown. Here, let me enable borders and places and roads. There we go. Okay, so first let's talk about function. Edit that. Okay, so first let's talk about functional regions. A functional region is something like this in Atlanta. Okay, so here's Atlanta. Here's the city of Atlanta. It's pretty big. And then here are all these cities or towns or whatever you want to call them around it. Now they're not necessarily Atlanta, but they're all kind of part of the same sprawl. And we can categorize all of this to be a functional region, which is the Atlanta metropolitan area. Now, there's no actual border here describing where it is, but we kind of get a sense that this is part of Atlanta, and that this is part of Atlanta, but at the same time, they're their own unique and independent cities or towns. And that's in essence what a functional region is. If you've ever been to San Francisco, you know what I'm talking about, the San Francisco Bay Area. It's an area around San Francisco that could be considered the metro area, but it's not actually San Francisco. That's a functional region. Now, a formal region is something more like a county. You can see where its border is, or a state, or even a nation. You can see where the border is. You know that there is a difference between this Florida and this Georgia. You can tell. It's really easy. That's a formal region. A perceptual region is something like if one person in one side of town has a view on another side of town, like, oh, that neighborhood's really bad, and oh, that neighborhood's really snobby, or whatever. That is a perceptual region. So, here, let me turn off roads and places real quick. So, it doesn't necessarily have to be correct. It only is in their mind. Doesn't necessarily have to be... Edit that. It's only in their mind. A perceptual region is only in the person's mind. Doesn't have to be what is actually there. This person can think, oh, that's where the bunch of rich people live, or this person can think, oh, that's where you shouldn't go at night, or whatever. And they can be totally wrong. But the point is, that's what they think of that area. That's a perceptual region. Alright, and that covers this video. I'll be back shortly.